hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
It sounded so soft.
It could be a little louder now.
How many of you have ever had doubts about something in your life? And don't tell me every single person in this room has, because we just did a meditation on it. Maybe it's about a job, maybe it was a relationship that you had, maybe it was about your faith, or whatever, whether something you once believed was true or not. Doubt and faith are companions on the journey of our personal beliefs. One does not necessarily cancel out the other. In many ways, they walk side by side with each other. It's always interesting and helpful to look at these words. It's helpful to look at them where they originated so we can better understand their meaning and their effects on our life. The word doubt comes from Latin and Old French roots. In the 15th, or the 12th and the 13th centuries, it meant fear, hesitation, or wavering in an opinion. The word faith, on the other hand, also traveled with Latin through French and into Middle English. And it originally meant loyalty, allegiance, trust, and belief. Now, according to Dr. Fillmore, who is the founder of Unity, he states that doubt unsettled is a state of opinion concerning the reality of truth of something. Doubt is the Satan of every man. Doubt is the root of weakness, mental and physical. And if man had faith in themselves, in the ability of spirit within them, they would become giants where they are but pygmies. And he defines faith in this way. Faith is a deep inner knowing that that which is sought is already ours for the taking. Faith in God is the substance of existence. To have faith in God is to have faith of God. We must have faith in God as our Father and source of all the good we desire. Faith works by love alone. The role of doubt is actually an important part of each and every person's spiritual growth. When we experience doubt, it pushes us, pokes us, moves us to seek a deeper understanding of any given situation. It invites us to search for the divine answer to something that has unsettled us. Doubt challenges easy answers and surface-level beliefs. It forces us to go deeper within ourselves and look for a greater truth. Doubt encourages us to search honestly, and in that searching, our spirituality often deepens and grows. The coexistence of faith and doubt can feel uncomfortable, yet doubt does not necessarily create disbelief or spiritual decline. Instead, it offers us an opportunity for honest questions, questions that seek answers to complex thoughts and experiences in our lives. When we're in that place of uncertainty, we can still find joy and purpose. We can still find community, not by running away from self-doubt, but by stepping directly into it and surrendering. Through our willingness to let go and trust, answers often come when we least expect them. How many of you have read Hamlet at some point in your life? Hamlet, Shakespeare, Hamlet. Many of you, or if you're anything at all like me, you had to read that in high school. And not only did we have to read a different Shakespeare play every single year, we also had to memorize portions from it. And so during my senior year, that was the year that we studied Hamlet. Not only did we read it, but I had to memorize several lines because I couldn't pass senior English without memorizing lines from Hamlet. And in all honesty, our daily studies did not exactly enhance my understanding of what Hamlet really is all about. It's the story of a Danish prince that struggles to deal with the murder of his father at the hands of his uncle who wanted to be king. Hamlet wrestles with morality as his desire for revenge increases. And it invites us, and the play opens with Hamlet having a strong belief in God. But his famous soliloquy in Act 3, to be or not to be, that is the question, whether it is nobler in the minds to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Can you tell what I had to memorize? Stays with me. After witnessing the corruption around him and encountering the ghost of his father, Hamlet moves into a place of deep doubt. His trust in the divine justice begins to awaken. At that time in history, Christians were taught that justice belongs entirely and completely up to God. Human beings were not meant to take revenge into their own hands. But Hamlet can't reconcile himself. He has witnessed he's witnessed too much killing, too much fighting, too much going on within the back portions of the castle. He just is in constant turmoil, and a battle rages deep within him. He is angry because he knows his uncle murdered his father. His love for Ophelia, the daughter of a close friend, begins to fall apart as her own mental stability declines, and Hamlet feels it's all his fault. His search for truth eventually leads to tragedy and the accidental death of others around him. All of these choices lead to Hamlet filled with doubt, confusion, guilt, and moral uncertainty. Now, over 400 years ago, the existing churches were very clear about faith and doubt. Faith was expected to be unwavering. It does not change within you at all. It stays right where it is. Moral decisions were viewed as absolute and clear, divinely guided. But like many of us today, Hamlet believed doubt was a natural part of faith. It is through questioning and reading and studying and seeking that we become clearer about what we truly believe. Even though Hamlet is a historical play, its themes are still incredibly relevant to today. Hamlet experienced corruption, power, struggles, and moral uncertainty in his world. While no one here today has killed a king lately, we still see ourselves struggling for power, corruption, and moral challenges throughout politics and society. Many people today struggle with uncertainty as prices continue to rise, jobs become less stable, technology rapidly changes our lives, and the homelessness continues to grow throughout the United States. The issues explored in Hamlet, doubt, faith, morality, and trust, are still part of the human experience today. Doubt is a natural human experience, especially during difficult times. We experience setbacks, and sometimes we become overwhelmed with responsibility. Maybe we suddenly find ourselves caring for another person and carrying emotional and physical and financial burdens we had never expected would happen. And many of us long for assurance and certainty in a world that no longer feels certain. Do you remember Peter in Matthew 14? He saw Jesus walking on water and decided that he could step from the boat and do it too. And so he got out of the boat and he began to walk, and all of a sudden the wind came up, and what did he do? He started to sink because he doubted. He doubted his belief, and he doubted that he could do it. And it was Jesus that pulled him back into the boat. If we want to overcome doubt and release fear, we must learn how to navigate life's challenges and our faith. One way is by grounding ourselves, and I use the teachings of Ernest Holmes to help me do that. Page after page in his writing tells me how to change my thinking and to remain spiritually open at the top. Meditation helps us become centered and receptive, and it doesn't have to be long. Just get started. Set the timer for 2 minutes. That'll do. Affirmative prayer creates an open dialogue with the divine. I always find prayer calming because it brings me back to the Christ consciousness within. And if doubt still creeps in, I'll ask one of our prayer people for spiritual treatment. And you've got several good ones in this community. Sometimes another person can help us understand, can bring clarity and compassion and a new perspective to a challenge that we're facing. To move through doubt, we must develop trust. I love how Ernest Holmes defined trust. To have faith in God is to follow this faith through by having faith in the self. That's you. The real self is God as much as is to be implicitly trusted. The spark which burns at the center of our own soul is caught from the living and eternal flame of the Spirit. God and you are one. And to expand our faith, we must trust ourselves, because within that faith and that trust is the divine presence itself. Faith is a lifelong journey, however. Certainly there will be moments of doubt for all of us, but the gift within those moments is the profound growth and learning that can shape our lives and fill us with greater wisdom, greater compassion, and good. Set your intentions for what you desire or for the challenge you seek to overcome. But do not tell God how it has to happen. That's limiting God. Do not place limitations on divine possibilities. Set the intentions, trust the guidance, and then get out of God's way, and you'll be surprised what happens. Last Thanksgiving Day, a close friend of mine passed away with ALS. Now, if you don't know much about ALS, it's a devastating disease. The nerve cells that control voluntary muscle movements gradually degenerate and die. As the disease progresses, individuals may experience difficulty speaking, swallowing, walking, and breathing. Jennifer was my living example of faith over doubt in her last 2 years of existence. Remember that divine wisdom and perspective are far beyond our own understanding. And perhaps that is where faith truly begins. As a retired medical doctor, she had diagnosed herself about a year before her own doctor finally confirmed what she kept saying, "I think I have." The average person lives 2 to 5 years after the disease is diagnosed. And Jennifer was my living example of faith over doubt in her last 2 years of living. For about 1.5 years, I made weekly short visits to see her. She was always upbeat and inquisitive about my life and shared pictures of her brand new babies that she was so excited to have that she questioned why this was happening. She never questioned why it was happening to her. She never, ever doubted her faith. Just before I would leave, we would always pray together. A month before she died, she wrote the following story, not by hand because she could no longer speak or use her hands, but by the use of her eye movements for her church's monthly gratitude devotional. And she attended the Bidwell Presbyterian Church in Chico. This is what she said. My name is, well, honestly, it's Everyman. I'm struggling with a slow march terminal disease, but in reality, aren't we all? Death is a side effect of living. Through this journey, I have become, by God's grace, exceedingly grateful that my transitory nature is now in my windshield more prominently. I have time to say goodbye. It has given me the perspective of my place in the world. I am becoming more and more disabled, yet God has allowed me to see I have been perfectly physically able until age 66. Many people are born with far greater disabilities and live their entire life live physically restricted. And no one is bombing my city. I'm not starving. And I have an amazing family and community who have enveloped me with love, personifying God's love. I'm grateful God continues to teach me and allows me to grow in this season. For instance, He is helping me realize how much pride I carried around in my head for years, even though everything I am and have is from Him and for Him. And I am learning to trust Him constantly, not just saying it twice a day, not trying to tell the maker of the universe how to solve my problems, which is crazy when we talk. But mostly I am grateful I know where my ultimate home is. And because of that, I have no fear of the future, only anticipation of perfection. Did you notice some of the key words she used? Her beliefs were certainly in line with our philosophy. Jennifer expresses no fear of what is to happen to her. She never ever doubts God. It is in her, has her, and experiences this disease with her. There is no question in her mind where she is going after her transition. Her face saw her through any doubt she might have had. And Jennifer was my living example and teacher of courage, faith, and divine surrender. She showed me how doubt only exists if I let it in and I embrace it. She understood God is in all things, even sickness and death. This is the truth in my life. This is the truth in yours. And so it is